Oh, good afternoon, everyone. It's Miss Karen, and I have Max here, and we are here for our kitchen science experiment on this Friday. And again, as I always remind you, kitchen science is things that you can find in your kitchen to use to make your experiment. Now today, we're cheating a little bit because we're actually going to have one ingredient we're going to use that you cannot find in your kitchen, but you most likely can find in your bathroom medicine cabinet. So we'll tell you about that in a second. So the experiment we're doing today is called Elephant Toothpaste. And the ingredients we use are going to create a reaction to create something very cool coming out of this bottle. Maybe some of you have done this before, maybe you have never yet. So what I'm going to do, because there's a few ingredients that you have to use, I'm going to show you the ingredients, and then Max and I will put ours together. But after I finish this video, I will post in the comments the exact amounts of the ingredients, so if you want to try it at home, you can do that, because you won't probably be able to gather the things quickly enough today. So elephant toothpaste, what do you need to make elephant toothpaste? So you are going to need some hydrogen peroxide, which again, this is something that you would not find in your kitchen, and this is not something you would drink. So you need hydrogen peroxide. So let's do it ingredient by ingredient. So what we're going to do is we are going to pour, I'm not one to usually measure, but we will this time. We're going to each pour a half a cup of hydrogen peroxide into our water bottle. Now, I do want to point out to you, let me do this. What we've done too is our bottles are on a tray today, because that might be an indication of what this is going to do. But this experiment will cause a little bit of overflow, so you want to make sure that you do it on a surface that's not going to get ruined, and also a tray underneath it would be actually very helpful. So Max is pouring his hydrogen peroxide into his bottle. The next ingredient we're going to use is dish soap, and this is something we hope you're using to wash your dishes with. So what we're gonna do, I'm not gonna really measure it out, we're gonna do 3 squirts. 1, 2, 3 squirts in our bottle. Yeah, 3 big ones. And if you remember before when we've used dish soap, I've always said it's something that we use to slow down a chemical reaction. All right, Max has his soap in there. The next thing we're going to need is food coloring. So this is where you get to decide in your bottle what color you want your liquid to be. So I'm choosing green. What color are you gonna choose, Max?
I think purple.
Purple, Max says. Yep. So in the bottle, you can probably drop, I don't know, 5 drops. So Max, to make purple, what are you going to use for color?
Red and blue.
Red and blue together, he's gonna squirt. So in goes the blue. And then next comes the red. So here, I'm gonna give my bottle a little swish, and Max is gonna do the same to kind of mix it up. Now the next ingredient,
Brown.
oh well, I think let's see what happens if it comes out of the bottle. The next ingredient we're going to use is yeast. Now, yeast comes in a package or an envelope. I poured it into the bowl, but can you think of what you use to make with when you have yeast?
Some sort of pepper thing.
It's not pepper.
It's some sort of thing like that.
So we need yeast and warm water. So this is my kettle, and I warmed up water earlier. Now, yeast is a living organism. Yeast is something you would use to make bread, to make the dough rise. Now, right now, this yeast is just a powder, and we have to activate it. So guess what kind of water we're going to activate it with? We're going to activate it with warm water. Would it work with cold water? What do you think? It would not work with cold water. So we need to wake up the yeast. So what I have here, we have some smaller cups, and what I'm going to do is in our smaller cups, we're going to put 1 to 3 scoops of yeast. Max is going to do the same as well. And then in this cup of yeast, I'm going to pour some warm water. Now, believe it or not, you do have to be careful with how warm your water is, because if you make your water too hot, you can overactivate the yeast, and then it won't work the way you want it to work. Okay, so we pour the yeast in. Actually, Max, we're gonna use a little extra yeast, just because. So here we go. And now we're gonna we have a spoon handy, and we're going to give our yeast mixture, yeast and water, a little stir. We're gonna wake up that yeast. If you'll notice too, when you stir it, it gets a little clumpy.
Mine's not getting clumpy.
No? And there's a kind of a weird smell with yeast. Now the question is, if we review, so in our bottle, we have the hydrogen peroxide.
Mine's liquid.
Some dish soap, and some food coloring. Now the question is, when we add our yeast mixture to our bottle, what will happen? Will the liquid stay the same, or will we create a chemical reaction? What do you think, Max?
Chemical reaction.
Max's chemical reaction. So are we ready? So another good reason to use this paper cup is because you can create a spout, because we need to carefully pour the water into the bottle. If you want, Max, I can do it. I'm gonna help. Max, so why don't you hold the bottles, and let's pour. We're gonna pour. Max, move your fingers a little bit just in case. We're pouring. Now, some chemical reactions happen fast. Some chemical reactions happen slow.
I could kind of already see it.
And some chemical reactions sometimes don't end up happening. So here we go. So I'm gonna give our bottles a little extra stir. Now, what's supposed to happen is these are supposed to foam out over, but if you notice right now, it's not working very well. So maybe we're gonna add a little bit of soap. Sometimes we have to tweak our reaction. And if this doesn't work, well, maybe you can try it at home and make it work better. Let's see, Max. Let's add a little more yeast. A little more yeast. And a little more water. I see friends watching. They're probably thinking, what on earth are you doing and why isn't it happening?
It's kind of working.
Ow. So there, you know what? We're gonna try something. So really, what it was supposed to happen, it was supposed to foam out over like a fountain. If we watch closely, the green one is starting to rise. So why does this happen? Let's talk about why this happens. So we use warm water and we use yeast to activate it, and we want it to be a foaming fountain. So oxygen is something that we breathe. But what happened is the hydrogen peroxide created bubbles with the yeast and water when it reacted, and that made the foam. And the foam is bubbling up, 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 up. And if you notice, the green one is starting to work. I had to tweak it a little bit, but sometimes that's what happens with science. And if you notice, here we go. We have it foaming out. Now, is it going fast, Max, or is it going slow?
Fast.
Kind of fast, but I feel like this is a little slow. And if you notice, if you feel the bottle, this is what you call an exothermic reaction, because the bottle becomes cold even though the contents inside is warm. All right, let's see if we can get that. So there we go. I hope you think it's cool. That is what we call elephant toothpaste. Now, I was actually looking into why you would call this elephant toothpaste, because you wonder, do elephants really brush their teeth? They really don't. But did you know an elephant goes through 6 sets of teeth in their lifetime? And they don't ever have to brush their teeth because they don't eat sugar like we do. They eat lots of leaves and they eat lots of rough food, so their teeth stay clean. So there's our elephant toothpaste reaction. This one did not want to work, Max. The blue one the purple one, I should say, did not work. But sometimes in science, things don't always work. So that's what we have for today, friends. What I'm going to do, like I said at the beginning of our video, is after this is over, I'm going to post the ingredients and what you need to use in the comment bar so you can try this at home later. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you again next week. Enjoy your weekend, enjoy the sunshine, and keep smiling.